do people call you Anthony, or is it?
Yeah, they call me Anthony. Some of the guys call me Tony,
Tony?
but it doesn't matter.
What do you prefer?
I don't really care.
Yeah.
They both mean the
Bob.
same thing.
We got Bob. Bob LoGerfo here.
Easy going dude. All right. Well, welcome, you guys.
Thank you.
Good to have you back.
Good to be here.
There is a new Promise of the Real record coming out on Friday. We've been waiting for this. Turn Off the News, Build a Garden, out Friday.
Yeah.
And it is, as you would imagine, it's definitely, I think, has some a particular point of view to it. And it's a beautiful point of view.
Yeah.
What I'd like to do here is I want to play just a few seconds is all we're allowed to play on this channel. Play a little bit of the title track.
Okay, cool.
And then I want to ask a little bit about it, if we could.
Sure, all absolutely. Right? You playing the acoustic or the electric version?
Well, we don't officially have access to the acoustic. I love the acoustic.
I think it's beautiful.
One. Well,
it's not officially out in the world,
It's not official. Yeah, I guess that's true.
Can't get us in trouble
cool.
here.
We got Lukas Nelson here.
I did say it was okay. I mean,
I don't think can we do it? We don't have it.
Oh, we don't have it. Okay, well that's all right.
She's only got what she's got.
So
all right,
we'll play what we got. This is the full band version, which is pretty.
Sheryl Crow is on this.
In fact,
she is indeed.
Yeah.
Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I believe that every heart is kind. Some are just a little underused. Hatred is a symptom of the times. Lost in these uneducated blues.
One of my favorite lines from the record. That one.
Hatred is a symptom of the times.
Yeah, and I believe every heart is kind. Some are just a little underused. It's really beautiful of you to allow that.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I do believe that. I think even everybody has a heart, and some of us use it, and some of us don't, and that's that. Some of us live in the mind only, and some of us live in the heart. And. I would say that the heart has its own mind, and so if you can live there perpetually, it's better.
What I wonder is, and I'm going to be completely unromantic and unidealistic about this.
Okay.
How can you live and run a business in this world? I mean, I understand you want to turn off the fucking news. Everybody feels that way, no matter which side of the aisle you're on.
Right.
But
do we have the luxury?
How we're heading into an election season.
Oh God.
I agree. We got the longest election season in the world, for God's sake. 2 years.
We have why do we
2
have
years.
to listen to pundits and analysts? Why don't we just do our own research, stay informed?
Well, there you go.
And then
that's what I was
put
asking.
down the device for the rest of the day.
So that was my question. How do we remain responsible Americans, responsible citizens, responsible voters?
Yeah.
And staying away from all of this stuff.
I have a good answer for this, that I've prepared over. I'm just kidding.
Wait, do you want to pull out a piece of paper now?
This is what
position white paper on.
That's why I'm here. I'm going to hold it up.
Cue cards.
So I'm gonna answer that question with another question.
Okay.
Can you imagine if we had galactic news available to us? Now, not only do we have the Earth's news, but we have news coming in, breaking news every day from around the galaxy. And there's a major galactic, election happening. And there's also a fleet of warships from Andromeda Galaxy on the way, hundreds of thousands of warships intent on, destruction of the entire solar system. And really, what can we do about that?
I want to get right on my phone.
Yeah, you're just going to be looking the whole time. Everybody's going to be glued to the imminent destruction of our solar system. None of us can do a dang thing about it. And I feel like 95% of the things that they keep you glued on the news about are either useless information, speculation, polls, that don't mean a darn thing, as we saw when Hillary was winning all the polls, and all of a sudden Trump won.
No chance of
course,
Trump winning.
No chance. It's all a load of shit, and it's designed to keep people engaged because they understand that human beings from the age when we were almost no different than the animals that are around us have this fear mechanism we're designed to locate where danger is and always be aware of it. So psychologically, news organizations, and I'm not pointing any fingers here, but they are designed to that's why negativity sells. It's because you always want to be aware of the danger that's around you at all times. But they know that, and so they pick all the danger. We've got 8 billion people on this planet, and all of us managed to survive. All of us managed to get along on the whole, per capita. But, we have a violent death or two every day. We have maybe a lot more in the Middle East than we have over here, but we have a shooting nearly every day. But still, considering the fact that we are 7 billion with a B, most of us are doing just fine and walking around, and we're actually in a very peaceful time on the planet. Now, if you watch the news, it's always going to seem like the world's going to end at any moment. There's a very good book called The Tao of Pooh. I don't know if anybody's read The Tao of Pooh. But they ask, Pooh why he doesn't listen to the news. And, Pooh said, turn on the news, Christopher Robin. And he turns it on, and it's 2 planes collided, and hundreds of people are dead now. What can we do about that information except mourn and be anxious and be afraid to get on a plane? Or, why do we need to know about all of this that's happening? Of course, we need to stay informed. I understand if there's a fault in the airplanes, then that should be. But why do we need to know the names of the shooters that go and on these rampages and shoot? I don't think that anybody should talk about what color they were. I don't think anybody should talk about what gender they were. I just don't believe that makes any sense. And I think it's designed to keep us separate and angry at one another and feel like we're just out, everything's against you. And so I really feel passionately that if we were to turn off the news and cultivate the community around us, look around and see what you can do in your local community. Connect to your local farmers, connect to your growers in the area, support local agriculture and local artisans, and get to know your neighbor. And building a garden is a good way to do that. And then you can actually maybe make a difference. And then you can still vote, and you can be informed. You don't have to be glued to it all the time. Make an hour a day to check what's going on, and then use the rest of your day to actually act without being paralyzed with fear and the feeling like you can't do a darn thing.
Some of these things you're talking about, you're out doing. Talk a bit about the farmers market work and the sort of community project that you've got going. These are things you're taking steps toward.
Oh yeah, well I'm one to practice what I preach, and I definitely have noticed that there's an opportunity for me to connect everywhere I go, my fans with the local farmers that are in their area, and we've had a few very successful attempts at this. The first one was an incredible pop-up farmers market that came together in a matter of days in Wilmington, North Carolina, where 1,000 people showed up. Some of them came from the show to see me. The show was happening later on that night, sold out at the Greenfield Lake Amphitheater. And there were 7 or 8 local farmers that came, set up in the parking lot at like 3 in the afternoon. And everybody came down and got to know their local farmers. And boom, there's connections made right then. And then hopefully a large percentage of those people will go there instead of to their big chain. And so there's ways you can give back. And then we got this YouTube thing going on and on Instagram and YouTube. It's called the Good News Garden. Because I also recognize that technology can be a tool, and it is a tool, just like our mind is a tool, if not if we don't let our minds run away, our thoughts run away from us, we can use our minds, and if we let our hearts guide our minds, then if we can let our hearts guide the technology that we're using, and use it for the purpose of connecting positivity with positivity, and that's what we're trying to do with the Good News Garden.
Where is that?
Where is what?
The Good News Garden. How do you?
It's on our Instagram or Facebook, or
you can write us letters, and we read all of them, and we pick our favorites, and it's good news. And we get on there, and we'll read a couple letters from people around the world, and things that have happened to them that were positive,
inspiring things. Whatever happened that impacted somebody's life in a positive way that week or that month or whatever.
And Anthony, this is, I mean, we hear the passion from Lukas, and he's obviously out front, but this is a full
band,
all hands on deck on all this stuff.
Definitely. The band started 10 years ago, and Lukas and I met at a Neil Young concert. We're big fans of Neil, and we ended up being Neil's band.
Yes.
And we met Neil as a band together first at Farm Aid. And Farm Aid is what Willie Nelson and Neil started many years ago for the family farmer. And so we've always had that in us, as we gain success, as we gain popularity, to create something positive with that success and popularity, and not just do it, for screaming fans and all of that, but for spreading a positive message. And that's what we're trying to do, and make people aware that you can have a really amazing life within your community, within 10 miles of you. You don't have to go out so far. That's cool too, but remember, there's people all around you to connect with.
I love conversations like this. I think everybody in their heart wants to subscribe to something like this. I think part of the problem, if there is any problem, is that part of the fallout of living in this world that we live in and in this country is people are just trying to get by, man. It's like, I just got to get up and go to work. I got, organizing a farm, I can't do that.
Well, we see that in our shows with people that come to the shows. They just want to come, have fun, let loose, because they're doing exactly what you're talking about. So that's why we take it upon ourselves. We'll help organize the farmers market. Just show up. You know?
And that's the thing, is that everybody does what they can do, and it only takes, I've heard this, it only takes 10% of a population to create a revolution. And the rest of the people follow suit after a while, and they see. And so, if 10% of our nation decided to turn off the news and build a garden, imagine what a better place this would be. And yes, there are a lot of people